There are a lot of things like financial aids that you can try for, but you don't always get them. It kind of depends. You know, every hospital is different, and sometimes you're just in debt up to your eyeballs and working on it. That's all you can do. Um, they have to have treatment. You have to have medication. You have to have your doctor's appointments. So I wish I had a good way. I think we're down to like, 1.5 million or something. I don't know. Have a good sense of humor. You have to laugh. I think the hardest thing about special needs kids is that people are ignorant. Um, they say nasty things and they're dumb and they don't ask like questions. They just make commentary and tell you what they think you should do, and that's very frustrating. There have been many times when I've been irate. There have been many times when I've laughed because of some of the things people have done. Like V was wearing her hearing aids and somebody thought I had her on a cell phone at like 2 months old. Just like, what? Um, One of the cruelest is telling me I should have had an abortion rather than bring a child into the world like mine. So people can be mean. I don't think they mean to. I don't think they think about it, but you got to have a tough skin, and it's not always easy to have a tough skin when people are saying things like that. I think it's been hard on Richard and V. Richard was very small because of the short gut, and V is some type of dwarf. We don't know what kind. The Mayo Clinic terms her a giant dwarf. A dwarf giant, something like that. A dwarfed giant, that's what it is, because both XXY and Ehlers-Danlos cause giganticism. And she was born at 2 pounds, 3 ounces at full term and has grown right along that. Great. She's not a big kid. So it's really hard because people see them and they take stuff away from them and they don't treat them their age because they're tiny. And that's been hard on them. I know Richard especially used to get very frustrated with that. V seems to be happy-go-lucky. I definitely think that we should raise our children to be proud of who they are regardless and okay with themselves. It doesn't matter. In the long run, none of what other people say or see really matters. If they're happy and they're okay, then they will be okay. Support-wise, babysitting. It is always nice to have people who are capable and willing to learn and willing to deal with the different. And my kids don't have huge things. They just have medication and, a few minor things that really need. And I can't find a babysitter. So, you can only imagine what somebody with a more severe needs has to deal with. It's really hard to find somebody that will come in and sit with the kids. It's hard to get date night and time out and time away, and we need that to recharge. So it's really important for us to be able to have that. So that's been hard. So anytime I have somebody that's willing to learn their needs and willing to be a babysitter, I'm all for it. Monetary is always an issue. Always. But there's also all of the running to the doctors and things like that, and just having somebody that can hear and just be there, that isn't freaked out by your. We lovingly call it a freak show because it is a little bit. It's nice to have those things. Being able to treat the kids normally and not like they're these little breakable things because they need to be kids. And a lot of people will treat them like they're breakable. They're not. If they're going to break, they'll break themselves. You're not going to break them by talking to them or being friendly to them or, you know, the sign language thing has been really hard. Having a kid who's deaf, nobody wants to learn sign language, so she's pretty isolated right now because it's just Dad and I, and that's hard on her. I know it is because she can't really communicate with any family members because they don't want to take the time to learn sign language because it's too hard for them. And that seems very unfair to me because she should be able to communicate with anybody, you know? And it seems like it should be more important than what most people think it is. That's tough.